Oh, I wasn't planning on doing a stream tonight, but I read a few headlines and I just wanted to throw some more thoughts out there. So this won't be a real long stream. I always say that. It'll probably end up being a half an hour at least. But I'm going to do it live. I'm going to do a video on this stuff, but I just think I'm just going to do it live. So wait for a couple more people to get in here. Lisi PC, what's going on? Glad to have you. Whoever's on Facebook. I can't see your chats, whoever's on Facebook, so I don't typically stick around long anyways. Alright. So I will let this play for just a couple minutes here. Then we can jump right in. Got a few people get in here. Like I said, this wasn't planned. It won't be terribly long, but I just wanted to point out a few things that I think are very, very interesting. And it's going right along with the plan, guys. I mean, it's like playing out directly to the plan. It blows my mind. You read these articles, you read these headlines, you see what's going on in the news, and it's like, wow. I feel like a mind reader because I hold all this stuff out. It wasn't just me. I mean, it's playing out to the steps predicted to a T. It's amazing. So, hey Connie from Texas, Abaddon, what's up, man? DCPC's in here. Yeah, see, we already lost our Facebook person. They always will jump in for. Oh, they're back now. Somebody's back now, back on Facebook. Yeah, all right. So we're gonna start at the 5-minute mark. I'll give you 30 more seconds here, and then I'm just gonna open it up, and we're gonna start out though laughing a little bit. We'll start out with a little meme time because there's some. You probably have all seen them, but there's some golden ones out there right now. So we're gonna cover those. Oh man, Corey's the best. Corey's always hosting me, man. It's awesome. Appreciate it. Corey thanks for the advice yesterday too, Corey. I checked it all out and it was on the money. Corey's the bomb. If you guys, any of the people who aren't here from Corey's channel, you guys need to go check Phoenix Enigma out. Don't forget it, sir. I won't. I will not. I will not. All right. Okay, sorry. I missed my cue there. All right. All right, we're going to start this off with a little meme time with Steven. Start out by laughing a little bit. I got to put my headphones on because I like to hear my music in the background. Oh, wait. I don't hear my music. Let me bring it up. All right, there we go. It's kind of cheesy music, but it's my meme time music, so I've gotten accustomed to it. So anyways, there we go. Bring it right about there. All right, guys. Well, welcome back to night 2 of post-election 2020, man. And we're going to start off with the little memes that most people probably have seen, but I thought it'd be funny to start out with. I want to speak to the polls manager. That's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. All right, jump to this one. Stop the count. Stop the count. It's time to stop the count. As Donald Trump would say. It's a terrible Donald Trump impression, but you mean what I know. This is the counting ballot. This is the counting ballots in Nevada. It's a sloth. It's funny because it's true. When Nevada finally finishes counting, hashtag Nevada, hashtag election results 2020. It's been 84 years. We're still waiting for the results. What are you going to do at this point? I mean, anybody that's awake, even just slightly, just a little tiny bit awake, understands what's happening. They see what's happening and they're like, but it's a great gauge of how many people are brain dead and then aren't seeing actually what's taking place. A coup's what's taking place, by the way, guys. If you're still on the fence about this, and this isn't, you can hate Donald Trump, you can love Donald Trump, all presidential flavors or our selections are on high leaders that we're given to sit at the foot of and worship. All those aside, what you're seeing right now is a complete destruction of our republic, of our constitutional republic. That's what you're seeing being torn down. And it just happens to be primarily the left is doing it. But the right's not helping at all either, man. We've got such worthless pukes that are supposed to be conservatives. Worthless pukes. God, I wish we could vote them all out. All right, moving on. Sorry. This is supposed to be funny time, not Steve Rant time. Okay, here we go. Next one. Live footage of Nevada working on those ballots. Come on, Nevada, you can do it. You can do it. The rest of the world is waiting. Hurry up. This is a pretty funny one. America, we'd like to have an election result today. Nevada, best I can do is Thanksgiving. Oh, that's a funny one. America, they said they can't seat us until the whole party is here. Are you on your way? Nevada. Oh, man. Told you we weren't going to do a ton of those. Normally, I do a good 10, 15 minutes of memes, and we laugh and we talk about them because there's a lot of political stuff that's interesting to talk about in memes sometimes. Not tonight. Tonight, we're going to just get back into it. So, SJG perspective. Okay, so thank you guys for coming. Thank you again, Corey, for hosting, man. You're awesome. I appreciate that very much. Here's the thing. I wasn't planning on doing a stream tonight. Tomorrow night is my stream. And I'm planning on having a friend, Dan Golvac, on. And he is his son, he has got a powerful story. He's a Gold Star family, basically, where his son, and I don't want to steal his thunder. It might make you tune in tomorrow night. He met the president back in 2016, and he has a pretty interesting take on the whole stuff because his son was murdered by an illegal alien. And I'll let him tell you the story. But we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. So if Dan, if he's not gigging, he's a fantastic musician, and he gigs a lot. So he may be gigging tomorrow night. He thought it was tonight, but it's tomorrow night is when I had him planned. So please tune in tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, 8:15. It should be a good show. And if not, I'll have another special guest on, which will be fun. So Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, we stream live. Follow me on sjgperspective.com. That's where you can find all my links, where to get a hold of me. sjgperspective.com. Subscribe there. Okay, so all that's out of the way. Today I was scrolling through, like I said, I wasn't going to stream tonight. I'm scrolling through some of these headlines and I'm just like shaking my head going, I can't believe how much this is playing out exactly like predicted. I've made this analogy. I don't know if I did it last night. It might have been the night before. The Transition Integrity Project is to the election 2020 as Event 201 was to the pandemic. It is playing out pretty much verbatim. Now, Transition Integrity Project, with this caveat, Transition Integrity Project, if you have not looked that document up, Google it and read it. It's 10, 15 pages. And when you read it, it's written by one of the main, Rosa Brooks was one of the main authors on it, and Nils Gilman. But one of the main people that was actually involved with the Transition Integrity Project is a guy that you might, if you followed it at all, you might remember. His name is Norm Eisman. Or Eisen, not, I want to call him Eisman, but it's Norm Eisen. And Norm Eisen, pulling up a note here, researched the research crew, CREW, Norm Eisen crew, researched that. But he was Obama's ethics czar. He was the ambassador to the Czech Republic. He was the author of Democracy Playbook, Preventing and Reversing Democratic Backsliding. whatever that is. And in his essay, he references, among other things, impeachment process, votes of no confidence, recall referendums, and encouraging strikes, protests, and boycotts. Norm Eisen was one of the authors and organizers of the Transition Integrity Project. And if you go and you read the Transition Integrity Project, and every place it says Trump, you flip it to say the Democrats, or Biden, if you will. You just read it in reverse, because it was written by these far leftists that were from day one out to get Trump and bring Trump down. Literally, they started planning this from the inauguration. And again, I don't care what you think about Trump one way or the other. I have my own beefs with Trump. I am not a Trump humper. If you know me, that is not who I am. But I have supported Trump in many things because he was, in many ways, he's done a lot of good things too. It's not all been bad. But at any rate, this isn't an assessment, good or bad, of Trump. They were out to get him because the will of the people, they don't want the will of the people. So at any rate, since 2017, now Norm Eisen was also the lawyer for Adam Schiff and Nadler in the impeachment process. So if you want to understand what's going on, you can read the Transition Integrity Project and flip it. When they're talking about all these things Trump's going to do, replace Trump with their name, and it reads like a freaking novel right now. It reads like a freaking novel, like straight up, like, or not novel, excuse me, a prophecy, whatever you want to. It reads word for word what you see happening. And that's kind of some things I want to touch on tonight. Like I said, this is a last minute stream. My structured, planned out streams are on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I thought I would just get on and free flow with you guys and go over a few things and see how it all pans out. So that's what we're going to do. So let me jump over here to my other screen. Oh, there we go. I think that's the one right there. Yeah. Okay. Okay. First off, and I'll read chats at the end. If I read chats right now, I get distracted, and my ADHD, it gets way out of check, and so I start seeing rabbits and whatnot, and I'm like, squirrel, rabbit, and I get off track. So I'm just gonna I'm trying not to look at the chats, but I will call you guys all out, and I will appreciate all your chats towards the end. I try not to read them right now. I get confused. Okay. Donald Trump declares, he came out today, I think you guys all saw this. Donald Trump declares election fraud. And I guess before I get into this too, I'm really a believer now that both parties ultimately that the deep-seated bureaucracy, deep state, whatever you want to call it, is laughing at us pretty much. If you watched my stream last night with Robert, they've gotten away with it, man. Now what have they got to hide anymore? What have they got to worry about? They have got to walk free and clear. And as Corey brought up in my stream last night, and as Robert brought up, it's, the fact of the matter is there's a lot of things that are very suspicious about why Trump did certain things. And didn't do other things, why he put certain people around him, and why he didn't just drop the hammer on some of these other people that we could have outed a lot of this corruption that wouldn't be plaguing him right now. So we'll get into that in another night, and we'll deal with your options on, because you really have to fall into certain, if you critically think about why he did or didn't do these things, you have to take some positions of either he wasn't smart enough to do it, or he was in on some of it. I don't know. Or he just ultimately, I guess you could also, but he just was very trusting and trusted. We'll talk about all that in another night. I don't want to get into that right now. I simply want to say, Donald, what he came out and said today, because what he came out and said was absolutely on par was the truth. And that's why they did what they did. And we're going to touch on what they did. I think you all know what they did, right? But that's kind of what I wanted to touch on. It's that this is an absolute, we live in such a corrupt country right now that the deep state is running the show. They're running the shit right now. And if you don't and so I feel relieved in some ways. I'm watching these and I feel bummed out because it's like, oh man, really our voices don't really matter. They're totally screwing us over right now. And you got half of the country that thinks it's good and has no clue really what's going on, because they're willfully ignorant, willfully blind, or just completely low IQ and don't get it. And then you got the other half of the country that's like, America, come on, we got to get out there and we got to fight in the streets for this. And it's like we're playing into the exact plan that the deep state wants to happen. Create ultimate division, create ultimate divisiveness, and lead us to a spot that is not good for our country. Keep us distracted instead of keep getting us united and realizing, wait a minute, these effers are screwing with us and going after them. They don't want that, so they keep us fighting and divided, and we're playing right into it. But when you see it and you understand what's going on, it's actually very relieving. It gives you almost a peace because you start to see, oh, I get it. I get what's going on right now. I see it. Okay, so it says Donald Trump declares election fraud. If you count the legal votes, I win, which he's absolutely 100% right. And I've been saying for the last months that if it's a legal vote, if it's a legal election, Donald Trump wins in a landslide. It's not even close. He wins in a landslide. So he's right in what he says. So he came out and some of his bullet points were President Donald Trump promised Thursday to level significant legal action to challenge elections in important swing states after watching his margin of victory whittled away by late counted ballots for Vice President Joe Biden. We think there's going to be a lot of litigation because we have so much evidence. We have much proof. It's going to end up perhaps at the highest court in the land. You'll see. He said, we think there'll be a lot of litigation because we cannot have an election stolen like this. I don't do a good Trump, but the president spoke, and that's not mocking him. I'm just having fun with him. The president spoke to reporters at the White House briefing and demanded transparency in a process and casting doubt on Democrat-run voting systems. He's casting doubt on Democrat-run voting systems because they're effing us, straight up effing us. Not being nice about it either. This is not a gentle, like Jack Black song, right? This is like painful what they're doing. And people are just okay with it. We want every legal vote counted, and I want every legal vote. He says, we want every legal vote counted, and I want every legal vote counted, he said. We want openness and transparency. No secret count rooms, no mystery ballots, no illegal votes being cast after Election Day. That's what's wrong with that. That's exactly right. We should have that. The president said and correctly predicted that mail-in ballots opened the election up to fraud and that they would challenge the results, and they did, and they kept pushing these. Even though these are the people that say trust the science, right? These are the ones that say, hey, trust the science, man, trust the science. We got to trust the science. Well, the science said, Dr. Fauci said, your little god on the left said you could vote in person. But we can't vote in person because then they could have counted the votes that night and we would have had a winner, and they wouldn't have been able to manipulate the votes like they're doing right now and effing the American people and our constitutional republic. Right? That's why they're doing what they're doing. That's why they're doing what they're doing. We literally are living in a banana republic right now. If you haven't opened and you have to face the facts on this, if we ever want to see it changed or anything happen, and I don't know how that happens. I'm not optimistic that we can. But at least you need to know who's doing what to you. That's the point of why I'm doing what I'm doing. Don't know where I was at. Damn it. The president said he correctly predicted that, Democrat officials never believed they could win this election, honestly. I really believe that's why they did the mail-in ballots. It's absolutely true why they did it. Where there is tremendous corruption and fraud going on. He's right. The president said that there were a lot of shenanigans in the election. There are. Complaining about electoral workers turning away Trump election observers or keeping them from watching the ballots. They're doing that. That's not conspiracy. They're doing that. If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us. He's absolutely right. The president berated the pollsters for falsely predicting that he would lose the election, accusing them of knowingly doing so to suppress the Republican vote. You're not really going to suppress the Republican vote no matter what, because we already knew that's what they were doing. But you're probably more so pressing the independent vote, right? And you're also, by the pollsters coming out, what they're doing is they're setting up this narrative. They were setting up this, it's a spell. It's a spell, if you will, like Corey would talk about. It's this programming that takes place in your mind that, oh yeah, Trump's not going to win. Trump's way behind. There's no way Trump could win. There's no way Trump could win. He's way behind. Biden's going to win. And for you to legitimately think that Biden is a cognitively more solid choice than Trump, and I'm not saying Trump is the highest on the IQ ladder. I don't necessarily think he is in some ways. In other ways, he's a genius. I will give him that. But it's unbelievable. Anyways, he also cast doubt on the voting system being run by Democrats, accusing them of blocking his votes. They absolutely are. The voting apparatus of those states are run in all cases by Democrats, Trump said. We were winning all the key locations by a lot, actually, and then our numbers started to miraculously getting whittled away in secret. They are. That's true. What he's saying right there is true. Detroit and Philadelphia, he warned, had a history of corruption in their cities and the cast doubt on the results. Certain locations, Trump said, stopped counting or submitted large chunks of ballots in early morning hours of the election. The president said that his team had collected horror stories of voting discrepancies, suggesting that he would reveal them to the public. See, these are the things, though, where I question. It's like, this is where he gets very Trumpy, right? And exaggeratory. Exaggeratory? He exaggerates. Exaggeratory, I don't think, is a word. I made one up. We can use it if you guys want it, but I don't technically think that's a word. That's a Trumpism, because I think he does that too. Kofefi. But at any rate, when he says that he's collected horror stories and he says he's suggesting that he will reveal them, when? When are you going to reveal them if you have them? These are the things that piss me off, if I'm being honest about. And I'm cold reading a lot of these articles. I breezed them before. So what you're getting right now, maybe I didn't think all the way through and I'm going to retract later. Maybe not. I'm just giving you what's coming to my mind. If you say you're suggesting you might reveal them, if you've got horror stories that you can prove, right now is the time to drop those. That's not like I might reveal them in the future. These are the things that make me question. When he says, I have all these documents that Barr or Rosenstein or what's her face, we're going to have them release these to the public, and then they don't ever materialize. It's like, if your guys aren't doing what you need them to do to show the American people the swamp and the corruption, then you do it. Then you just sidestep those mofos and you do it. And that's one of my beefs with him that he didn't do, and that's got him in the position he's in right now, because the deep state is just clicking along. Our goal is to defend the integrity of the election. We will not allow the corruption to steal such an important election, or any election for that matter, he said. Okay, so 95% of what he said, I absolutely agree with. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So guess what happens? ABC, CBS, NBC cut away from the president Trump's live remarks on the election. So he goes out and all the major networks, they cut away from him. Here's where I want to enter Transition Integrity Project. Here is where we enter in I'm going to go back to this tab real quick and we're going to come back. Here's where you enter into those 7 steps right here. And I don't know if you can read them or not, but I'll read them to you. The 7 steps of conducting a coup, the 7 stages of a coup. Let's review real quick. Step number 1. Semi-autocratic rather than fully autocratic regime. A semi-dictatorial, you have somebody that you claim is an autocrat, is a dictator, right? Well, who's been being called a dictator for his whole term? Trump, right? Number 2, an unpopular incumbent. Okay, check. Donald Trump, check. Unpopular incumbent with half of the nation, with half of the country. A united and organized opposition. Check. All the media, all social media, all the celebrities, a good portion of the politicians, talking heads, pundits, right? Check. All of those. Here's where here's the half now we're seeing unveiled right now. That was all prior setting up the coup. Here's the stages we're in right now. An ability to quickly drive home the point that the voting results were falsified and or false results were justified. You could look at that either way. But an ability to drive home the point that voting results were falsified and or false results were justified. What is the narrative right now that they are driving home right now, right here? ABC, CBS, NBC cut away from the president when he was making all those points I just read to you that were absolutely true. He doesn't, because see, we live in this bubble. We live in this echo chamber. You're either on the left or you're on the right for the most of them. And if you're on Twitter and then you're on the dark side or you're on the left side of Twitter, all you're hearing is Trump bad, Orange man bad, dictator, stealing the election, fraud, committing perjury, doing this, doing that, bad. If you're on the other side of Twitter, you're hearing Trump's good, they're stealing it from him, he's being attacked, he's da-da-da-da-da. Now, I will say, typically right now, what we've seen, the right is honestly speaking a lot more truth than the left is. The left really is under a spell. I will not say that's always the case, and I will not say that bipartisanly this is a big that all the people on the right are bad or vice versa. I won't go there with you. I won't say that. It goes both ways. But right now, there is a lot of truth coming out from the right that there is absolute fraud, absolute misdirection, absolute chicaneries going on that are bad, that are wrong. But my point in all this, my point in saying this is that you have to have under a coup, step number 4, the ability to quickly drive home a point that the voting results were falsified and or false results were justified. And that's what we're doing. So he's speaking the truth. Donald Trump comes out speaking the truth, right? Saying this is what's happening. And a lot of people don't realize that. They haven't thought of it like that because all they hear are their echo chamber telling them all these other things that they fully believe that Donald Trump is a racist dictator, terrible, evil person. And so he's trying to steal he's creating the coup. And this is the other thing that the left does so perfectly well. And it's not just the left. Everyone does it. As soon as you're picking out the speck in somebody else's eye, you typically have a plank sticking out of your own, right? But having said that, it is blatantly obvious right now that the rules are for radicals. Saul Alinsky's rule for radicals, you blame your opposition for what it is you're doing. The left has been so blatant about this. And this is exactly what they are so badly doing right now. They are everything they're saying in their echo chambers, Trump's attempting a coup, when the exact reality of it is they are attempting and they are doing the coup right now. So ABC, NBC cut away from the president during his live remarks, right? We don't have to read that whole story. The headline tells us all. He starts speaking the truth. They cut away from him. This article talks about how, just backing up the fact of some of those things that Trump said, Hans von Spakovsky. I'm glad I thought it was Spankovsky for a minute there, and I thought that can't be a real name. But 120,000 straight vote dump for Biden is impossible. So here's the thing. Trump's coming out and saying there's shenanigans going on. There's fraud going on. This analyst says vote dumps entirely for former Vice President Joe Biden are not credible. Assessed Hans von Spakovsky. I'm going to just call him Spakovsky. Hans von Spakovsky, manager of the Heritage Foundation Election Law Reform Initiative and a senior legal fellow at Meese Center for Legal and Judicial Studies, offering his analysis on Thursday's edition of SiriusXM's Breitbart News Daily with Alex Marlow. Marlow asked about reports of drastic spikes in vote counts for Biden in the early hours of Wednesday morning. If those reports are correct, I don't understand it. The way you do counting is you simply count all the ballots. It was weird. Who would have thought you just count the ballots? Von Spakovsky said, you don't divide. They're not divided up between candidates. So the precinct reporting that's coming in ought to be reporting of the total vote count, regardless of who it's for. So again, if it's confirmed that there are these weird reports coming out of votes only for one candidate and not the other, you've got to question what exactly is going on. Doesn't that make a whole damn lot of good common sense? It does to me. And I promise you, if this was in the reverse happening, I would not be making a defense for it. And there's the difference, I think, it goes on right now with the left and the right. The right is at least, I think, more consistent. Because I promise you, at least I am, if this was in the reverse and they were calling these facts out, I'd be like, yeah, that is a little shaky. That is a little suspect. Reports of Republican poll watchers being denied observation of vote counting raises questions about electoral misconduct, stated von Spakovsky. It does raise concerns when you know that all the people that are working there are clearly Democrats, remarked von Spakovsky. That's why it's so important that those places comply with state poll watching laws. All campaigns and all the political parties are legally entitled to have poll watchers watching every aspect of the election process, including the counting process. For places like Detroit, what could go wrong in Detroit? To chase out and not allow legally appointed poll watchers in there to watch them processing these absentee ballots raises serious questions about possible misconduct going on, Van Spinksky said. Now, I don't have evidence of misconduct, but the point is, if the poll watchers were there, we would know what exactly was going on in the vote counting process, right? And that's the whole thing we're saying is, hey, Biden might win, but let's have some bipartisanship in there watching it to make sure no funny little shenanigans are going on. And the left is losing their mind. Oh, Trump wants to intimidate the vote count, and it's voter fraud, and these are conspiracy theories. Stupid Piers Morgan. Shut up, Piers Morgan. Worry about your own damn country that's in lockdown. Stay the hell out. Keep your damn nose out of ours. Somebody needs to kick that dude right in the nads. Poll watchers are needed to reduce the risk of ineligible ballots being included in a vote count, explained Van Spansky. What I worry about is an absentee ballot being accepted, processed, and counted that don't comply with the state law requirements because they know it's going to be the vote they like, Van Spansky warned. What I mean by that is an absentee ballot comes in and the signature doesn't match. Oh, guess what happened in Pennsylvania? The signature doesn't have to match and they can still count the ballot. But there's nothing winky going on, Van Spansky. There's nothing winky. So clearly it may be fraudulent. Or it came in late, but they counted it anyways. That's the kind of thing you don't want to have happening because that is simply illegal. Marlowe asked Van Spansky what advice he would offer the president with respect to protecting electoral integrity. Van Spansky replied, "The only thing that's going to help Trump now is lawful means. Court orders ordering election officials to comply with the law to not count absentee ballots that have been received in violation of the state law. That's where my resources would be concentrated if I was doing this." So again, ABC, NBC, CBS can't. They don't let him get out there. This Van Spansky puts out a very interesting thought that, hey, you can't have 120,000 straight votes, right? That doesn't work. Pollack, 7 kinds of election interference from fraud to censorship. So this guy, I'm just going to skip to what he said here. There are 7 ways the vote is tilted. Actual voter fraud through relatively small in scale includes voting twice, dead people voting. Heard some rumors about that. Filling out dead ballots for other people, losing ballots before they are counted, and so on. An unnamed political advisor explained to the New York Post before the election how he once did it and trained others to do it with mail-in ballots. An election that is swayed by 500 to 1,000 votes, it can make a difference, he told the Post. It could be enough to flip a state. And we're seeing that in, I think it's in Georgia now. It's down to a couple 2,500 votes, maybe 1,000 votes. It's getting really damn close, right? Ballot harvesting. Ballot harvesting involves using third parties to collect an unlimited number of mail-in ballots for other people. It has been legal in California since 2016. Democrats used it effectively in 2018, delivering hundreds of thousands of ballots that way. Republicans have tried and failed to copy them. GOP votes don't part easily with their ballots. GOP voters. Democrats want to legalize ballot harvesting nationwide. Hey, what could go wrong? What could go wrong for those lion sack mother pieces of crap that would want to do that? What could go wrong? Nothing. In several states, Democrats sued to let it happen. In Michigan, it was allowed briefly. And then, by the way, if you look at some of these local and regional, like Project Veritas exposed what was happening in Michigan, right? With Ilhan Omar's, where there was ballot harvesting taking place and Project Veritas proved it. But don't worry, that wouldn't happen on a national scale. Cursing absentee ballots. Several states, including Republican-governed states, allow voters to cure problems with absentee ballots, such as a missing signature, then resubmit them. Deadline extensions, relaxed rules, privately funded get-out-the-vote efforts. Well, here's an interesting one. As Breitbart News warned in October, liberal billionaires like Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg donated hundreds of millions of dollars to so-called safe election efforts, ostensibly nonpartisan. Yeah, right. These appear to have functioned as a get-out-the-vote operation for Democrats targeting key cities. I'll tell you another better way than Mark Zuckerberg is spending his money, by censorship. Him and Jack Dorsey, by censoring people, and I think he talks about that. Oh, he does. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Automatic vote-by-mail applications, right? So when people don't even ask for a vote-by-mail application, they get it, right? It gets sent out to them, which gets people confused. They don't know if they vote. By the way, my wife, she was sent her ballot, or a ballot or registration. I think it was her ballot. It was her ballot. And it was under her maiden name that she has not used for 10 years. And why they would send it to her maiden name to our address that we've lived out for 7 years, right? We've been together for 10. And she's never tied her maiden name into that, but it was sent to her, you know, I'm not going to give her name, but blanket blank. And she's like, haven't used this name for years. And the only people that know that's even connected with this name is Facebook. So originally she signed up in Facebook with that name. So it's just weird things like that if she was to turn that in, would that be counted? Probably not. Anyways. And then here's one of the bigger ones, social media censorship. The decision of Silicon Valley companies to censor information during the election had a profound effect whose true impact may never fully be known. Twitter regularly censored the president, New York Post reporting on Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, Google suppressed search results for Breitbart News. Now they slap nutrition labels on articles about voter fraud. This is a form of election interference that will likely continue. It is the largest form of it, censoring and shutting voices down. It's happening like crazy right now, guys. Happening like crazy. Again, this is not some... this is about the bigger picture. The bigger picture is being revealed of who runs the show and how your voice, it don't matter. This is, and it's sad to say that, and I'm not saying be fatalistic and do nothing. I'm saying wake up and we need to figure out how we make it matter. And that's not by burning shit down. That's not the right way to go about it, I don't feel. Ask me in a week. I may change my mind. But we need to truly figure out how we get this changed. And I think it's like, I'm not going to get into that right now. There's a lot of thoughts I have on that. So we have all of this going on. Let's jump over to the Transition Integrity Project for a minute. There's a lot on this you could read. I guess it's 22 pages. Sorry, not 15. I wanted to read a couple things to you that they list out here. Top line findings are here. While not directly the subject of the scenario planning exercise, in debriefing, our participants almost all raised questions about whether Trumpism or Bidenism would survive a Biden loss. If Bidenism would survive a Biden loss, or if Bidenism, I'm flipping it, would survive a Trump loss. No, if Bidenism would survive a Biden loss, sorry. We include a summary of the descriptions in Appendix C, but let me read these to you. Campaign decisions about whether to contest the election are likely to be a political calculation rather than calculations based on legal rules alone. Think about that under the Democrats. Now, they're trying to blame this on conservatives or Trump. Think about that as flipping it to the Democrats. Campaign decisions about whether to contest the election are likely to be political calculations rather than calculations based on legal rules. Right? They're politically basing their decisions on what they're doing right now, not on legal ones. Trump is actually basing it on the legal ones, and they're like, politically, what do we need to do? Politically, what are the decisions we need to make and do right now to politically win? Forget legal, let's politically do it. But they're saying that that's what Trump would do. Number 2, a close and contested election may be resolved through the exercise of power, not through the courts. They're saying Trump's probably going to exercise, he's going to contested election, he's going to resolve this through power and not through the courts. What is the Democrats doing? They're resolving this through power of the media, as we're going to about ready to get into, power of opinion, power of persuasion, and who's wanting to go to the courts and handle it through the courts? Trump, right? Again, you flip exactly what's going on here, what they're accusing Trump of, they're exactly doing. Number 3, as an incumbent unbound by norms, President Trump has a huge advantage. As a organization, DNC, unbound by the norms, the DNC has a huge advantage. They're not playing by the rules of the norms. We've stretched out the election. We're counting all these different states, taking forever, right? All this rhetoric is being shot out by the left. They are unbound by any norms. Anything we've done normally, they're unbound by it. And thus, it's giving them a huge advantage because they have 79 or 2 million people that are going along with it. Number 4, a show of numbers in the streets and actions in the streets may be decisive factors in determining what the public perceives as just and legitimate outcome. Holy shit. This is the part, though, where they're not blaming Trump for it. This is the part, number 4, where they're saying this is what they're legit saying. This is what Biden needs to do. During TIPS exercises, Team Biden almost always called for and relied on mass protests to demonstrate the public's commitment to a legitimate outcome, with the objective of hardening the resolves of Democratic elected officials to fight and take action and to dramatize the stakes. This is Democrat. This is a left-leaning organization telling you what they're doing. I'm losing my mind right now. If they're telling you what they're doing. A show of numbers in the streets and action in the streets may be a decisive factor in determining what the public perceives, what the public spell is cast upon. As Corey would probably agree with me, as the public spell that is being cast on the people. Its perception as the public perceives as a just and legitimate outcome. Mind control, MK ultra straight mind control stuff here. The useful idiots out there that are like, this is how community matters. The getting out the, I forget their chants. I listened to the Portland chants. Show me what community matters. This is, I don't know. I have a job, so I don't know what their chants are. I can't pay attention to them. I'm working during the day, but because then I got to sleep at night, so I can't watch them all the time. But the people in the streets, the BLM, the Antifa, these protests, and there's a whole bunch of organizations that are behind these. All Marxists, by the way, backed Marxists. All these useful idiots, they have been being keyed up and planned up because this isn't something they just threw together overnight. This plan has been in the works for a good damn long time. I think they started getting this actual TIP project together back in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. They revealed it in the middle of this last year. But this has been in the works for a while, guys. You mix in the COVID and everything else, there's way bigger powers at play here. But again, number 4 here on this one, show numbers in the streets and actions in the street may be a decisive factor in determining the public perceives as a just and legitimate outcome. Playing it right by the book. Trump is likely to prioritize his personal interests in the transition period. Let's flip that one. Biden is likely to prioritize his personal interests in the transition period. Biden is doing this stuff because right before all this came out, Biden's pants got dropped down, or excuse me, Hunter's were literally dropped down, but he was hanging his ass out there in the wind, and nobody was paying attention to it. Nobody on the left, on the media, we're about ready to go over some of these headlines that got me fired up tonight. Nobody covered it. Social media censored it. The fix is in, guys. The fix is in. It's playing out to the books. Just playing out to the T on the books of the censorship and the deep states in control. The deep bureaucracy, the globalists, the predator class, they're in control and they don't give a fook about you or I. They're going to do what they're going to do. Okay, so now that we've covered some of that, I want to go back to this real quick. We stopped at number 4. Ability to quickly drive home the point that the voting results were falsified and false results were justified. Number 5, steps in a coup. Enough independent media to inform citizens about the falsified vote or falsely justified vote. Enough independent media to inform the citizens about the falsified vote, or flip that, the falsified justified, or the falsely justified vote. What's happening right now on all of the social media is like, we're getting censored. We're getting our stuff taken down. We're getting labeled with the conspiracy hat. Everyone is throwing the conspiracy javelin at Trump right now. And he's the one speaking that it's disinformation and discrediting. That's what they're doing right now. Okay, jump back here. So they cut it. I did that one. I just read that one. So look at this. Nevada I don't want to read that one. I pulled that up, but that's not important. CNN's Cooper, Trump's presser was like watching an obese turtle on his back flailing in the hot sun. Well, you would know what it's like to be on your back flailing, Cooper. I won't go any farther with that, but I think you all mean what I know, right? He's a turtle. Turd. He's a turdy turtle. That's what I meant by that. Nothing else. CNN's Tapper. Watching Trump flail, or using the word flail again. Talking points out there, huh? Getting it into your psyche. Getting it into your mind. Flailing around. His campaign's flailing. It's flailing. When really it's laser focused and he's speaking the truth. What are we painting him as? He's a flailing turtle in the back on his son. He's flailing around. He's a pathetic liar. CNN's Tapper watching Trump flail around telling lie after lie. That's pathetic. He's just lying. Projection, what do? They accuse you of what they're doing. They accuse others of what they're doing. Watch CNN's Jim Acosta ask Donald Trump, "Are you being a sore loser?" as he leaves with that smirky little freaking, oh God, I would love to smack that smirk off that crackhawker's face, man. He is such a prick. But again, are you being a sore loser? They're mocking him. They're laughing at him. They're just so. He's still the president, for crying out loud. Show some goddamn respect, whether you love him or you don't. He's the president of the United States. Show some goddamn respect. But just a prick. Anyways, it goes to the narrative. It goes to the narrative, right? That Trump is losing. He's a sore loser. Mocking him. He's flailing. The media. Let's remember what I'm talking about here. Right here, have the ability to drive home the point. Have an ability to quickly drive home the point that the voting results are falsified, and enough independent media to inform citizens it's falsified. You can't take them serious. Are you being a sore loser? Whitmer comes out. Like, we need to hear anything from Gretchen Whitmer, right? Did her husband ever get his boat during the lockdown out on his big old ass boat? Dropping names. I mean, there's so many. The hypocrisy here is staggering, but it's very troubling. Trump is growing increasingly unstable. He's unstable. He was speaking the truth. They mock it. They demonize it. They tear it down as any way they can. That's what they do. That's their goal. That's how they work. It's all a psyop. They're controlling and changing the narrative and mind controlling people. Literally, I know that sounds tinfoily to some people. It's literally the truth of what's happening. They're calling right wrong and wrong right. They're literally projecting and calling out so that's the best disguise in the world. Accuse your opponent of what you're doing. Get out in front of it. Get out in front of what you're doing so that it makes it harder for them to say no. Then they have to be on the defensive. No, that's not what it's what you're doing. And then they look like a petulant little crybaby, which is how they're painting Trump to look. It's quite brilliant. Then you even have this turd, this Wallace turd, this freaking Fox News channel's Wallace. There doesn't seem to be any hard evidence of fraud. Well, of course not. And you're so you're so nonpartisan, right, Wallace? There's no spin with you, right? Such a freaking prick. And then you got the GOP. The good part of the GOP cowering, doing nothing to the mob, right? Again, this is not in one way or another some major defense for Donald Trump, because I support a lot. I've supported a lot of what Donald Trump has stood for. We can talk about Trump on the side, but the fact of the matter is, it's showing you who the establishment is. It's showing you who is on the take. The people that are not willing to stand up and say, wait a minute, this is bullshit. Little old me read a few different articles on this, had somewhat of an open mind, listened to some literally nonpartisan Whitney Webb, right? Big fan, Jason Burmis, Whitney Webb, some of these people that have just been spitting a lot of truth when it comes to this subject, right? Listening to these guys, and I can see so clearly what's going on. And if it was in the reverse, if Trump really was being shady and lying and doing all this fraudulent shit to steal the election, I'd be bummed that we were handing the election over to the Democrats and to the left. But I'd be like, well, that's, what it is what it is. But that's not what's happening. and nobody's, because it's set up. It's a setup. Okay, a couple more articles here. View Sonny Hostin slams 69 million un-American voters for looking the other way and backing a racist, homophobic, misogynist Donald Trump. This kind of goes with what I'm saying, but I think I had this article up just because, really, Sonny, that's what you're getting. That's where we're going here with old Sniffer, with old Biden Sniffer, right? And his son that it's not him, admittedly, but his son that's doing all kind of crazy BS bullshit. Old Biden, the corrupt Biden, quid pro quo in Ukraine Biden, China Biden, and you're gonna call us this? Here's the scary part about that is because the next level is to set up anybody who is a Trump supporter if this crazy ass true fascists get into power. And by the way, I don't think Biden or Kamala ultimately are fascists. I think Kamala is I think they're both complete puppets. And being that he'll be a lame duck president anyways, there's not much he can do. It's really just more of a spotlight again on the establishment that likes to keep things in the middle, likes to let it swing a little bit this way and then bring it back this way. They don't ever really want revolution or change or anything really getting changed on any level. They don't really ever want people to unite and to people understand, because then the people would come together and say, oh, it's you sons of bitches that are doing all of this to us. They don't want that. So really, I don't know how much is going to change. A lot of that fear stuff is kind of like, meh, if nothing else, maybe it really does truly wake people up deeply. But like Robert said last night, it's probably too late now because, anyways, moving on. This article, no election is more important than our democracy. Maryland Governor Larry Hogan slams Trump, claim of vast big money, big tech, big media conspiracy against him as GOP rep calls it insane. So now you have Republicans saying there's no big money, big tech, big media conspiracy. You're stupid if you don't think that that's happening. You're absolutely brainwashed. You're one of those intellectuals, so much better than everyone else. Twitter or Twitch people, or you're one of those people that is like just very pretentious, stinky, stuck up, fucking liberal. If you have that mindset that you just think, oh, this is such a conspiracy. You're such a conspiracy. No, you're just stupid. You're just kind of dumb. You're dumb. But you doesn't matter because you're the type that's going to willingly show a needle, show me where the needle goes, inject that bad boy into me. Did you realize that right now in Maryland, I think it's Maryland, today we have a friend that lives there. She just got word that the mayor or the governor of Maryland, not sure which one it was, one of the high up officials there, basically, I think it's the governor, has came out and said that to go into Maryland, you have to be tested, COVID tested, and you have to have a COVID test to go into Maryland. And they're like, how's that going to work? I got to get tested every time I go in, every other day. And then how do I carry my test result with me? And all it is a setup, guys. It's just a setup. It's to make your life as miserable as possible. Wearing a mask, getting tested, having to jump through all these hoops. So that when the vaccine comes and they say, hey, guess what? We have the vaccine and you can get it and everything's going to go back to normal. People are going to be jumping to get it, right? And then they're going to say, oh, and by the way, instead of carrying your paperwork with you, we'll just give you a COVID pass. We'll just give you one of these electric tattoos or a little chip that carries all of your vaccination records so you can show you've been vaccinated and you don't even have to slow down getting on the bus or getting on the subway. You just zap that thing and you're good to go. That's the setup. That's what's coming. It's not far away. It'll probably be here before the end of the year, I would imagine, before 2022. Before January 2022, it'll be widespread. There'll be widespread that, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty confident about that. I stand by that. Defense, so here's the other thing. So going back to this one thing, we're almost done. Man, see, I told you, I'm almost shooting for an hour. I thought I was going to do like a half an hour. Yeah, right. Step number 6. A political opposition, we covered this already, but this is step 6 in a coup. This 7 stages of a coup, step 6. A political opposition capable of mobilizing tens of thousands or more demonstrators to protest electoral fraud or fraudulent electorate. Okay? That's step number 6 in the coup. A political opposition capable of mobilizing protesters. Is that happening? Yeah, it's happening. And number 7, which is the article we're going to read after this, division among regime's coercive forces or military forces. You got to start having division among one of your final steps in the coup working is you got to have division in the military, because the military is going to have to eventually enforce the forcible removal of the autocratic leader. Well, look here. Defense Secretary Mark Esper has prepared his resignation letter in anticipation that Trump will fire him if he wins re-election. That's a setup. That's a setup to say there's bad blood between Mark Esper, right, who's the defense secretary, and Trump. That's the setup. They're setting it up to say, oh, he's going to fire him if he wins re-election. No, that's the signal. That's the setup that there's trouble and big trouble in Little China between the military, the high end of military officials, and Trump. And then that was that one. I didn't close that out yet. So, hang on 1 second here. Okay. So, those were the points I wanted to cover when I was reading today, going, wow, it's playing out exactly like it should. It's playing out exactly like they planned it to play out. No surprises here. It's happening exactly like they said it was gonna. I'm doing these videos on the coup and on this stuff because we can easily get caught up in we want Trump to win. They're stealing from the Trump, and oh my gosh, the Democrats are so bad, or Trump is so bad, and he's terrible, and you need to get him out. And the other side is like, they're stealing it from Trump and causing the fight. Guys, it's planned. It was planned out this way. I think what you need to do is because when you start seeing it and you start seeing it unfolding, it doesn't cause that visceral reaction within you of getting, I can't believe they're saying that about him. I can't believe they're doing this. It's like, oh, yeah, this is exactly playing out. It removes the blinders, and there's an importance in removing those blinders and understanding that what you're seeing right now, that you put your hope in, that you believed in, that you've fallen in love with in many ways, it's all WWE. It's all big-time wrestling. And I am going to do some more, get my thoughts really collected on where we go with Trump. Where does Trump play into all this? I don't know yet. I want to believe the best, but I will be honest with you. I have some doubts, and I want to wrestle with those. Because you got to wrestle with your doubts. Whatever doubts you have, no matter if it's politics, if it's a politician you try, if it's religion, whatever, you've got to come to wrestle with your doubts. And think them through critically and not be married to them. Don't ever be married to a person that you can't critically look at that person and say, are they doing something because the PSYOP runs deep. And I'm not 100% officially saying Trump is pulling a PSYOP on us. But I will tell you this, it's not without merit, or it's not out of the realm of possibilities that this all could be one big, all of them playing together. It is one big show. I'll leave it at that because my thoughts aren't collected enough on that to speak like I want to. So I don't want to speak out of turn, but okay. Wow. A lot of chats, man. Petty bullshit. Yeah. Okay. I do not know if I can go through all of these. There's a ton of chats in here. Lisi Peasy said the useful idiots are the majority of the populace, and 2020 has been a training year for the mob rule. That's very true. Very well said. Corey said, yes, this is a form of sympathetic magic. Entertainment. Yeah. Or entrainment. Entertainment or an entrainment? Or entrancement, maybe? Entrainment? Is that what you meant by that? It's an entertainment, too. But I agree with you. Sympathetic magic. I'll have to look that up. I've never heard that term before. Tidy Labs. I don't follow it. I know that's one of my things. People not very informed here. Redeemed Patriot says, okay, I'm done. People are not very informed here. I love you, Redeemed Patriot. Or Patriot. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know who you're speaking to on that, but Abaddon, Alex was on the RSBN tonight. Alex Trebek or Alex Jones. Lisa PC, he's been very composed. Go ahead and say it, John. Sorry, I'm just trying to read some of these here. That's fucking stable. Yeah. Trying to read if there's anything jumping out at me here. Smart to unfriend the Uber leftists. I don't know. They wouldn't point me to the mob comes for the deplorables. Maybe it is smart to unfriend the Uber leftists. I don't know. If they wouldn't point to me when the mob comes for the deplorables. Okay, so I am going to try to read some of these out. It's not sympathetic magic. I know I practice magic. It's not sympathetic magic. Arcadio Occult said, it's not sympathetic magic. I know. I don't know what sympathetic magic is. I need to Google that. Hey, I don't know if you saw SJG. I know a dead guy from Ohio who voted in Detroit. You really do? That's crazy, Lazy PC. Okay, so Lisi PC Stacy, Abaddon, RX Captain. Trying to read up here and see who I got that is Arcadia Colt, Corey, Phoenix Enigma, Redeemed Patriot. I don't know if they're here anymore. Liesel. Wanted to Connie. Let me see here. AJ. I don't know if you guys are still here or not. Shelly Green, Connie Davidson. I don't know who else I'm missing here. There's a lot of people here. Lori M. Let's see if I got anybody else up there. There's a lot of people that were. I want to thank every single one of you guys for chatting and hanging out tonight. We had a really good crowd again. Again, thanks to Corey, because he's awesome. But also to my YouTube people, thank you so much for hanging out. Guys, I'm just calling stuff out as I see it. I'm sorry if it offends or if you're like, you think I don't support Trump or I'm not a conservative, whatever. I really don't care anymore. I'm freeing myself from all of the shit that's been in the cloud of crap, I guess, that is encompassed a lot of us, but has encompassed my mind with the fog. And I'm just like, whoa, this is all a big psyop. Just everything is. It's crazy to me. So I am who I am. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to say I'm wrong when I make mistakes. I'm going to say things I don't I'm going to say things I believe now, and then I'm going to think about them later. I'm like, you know what? I've changed my mind on that. That's who I am. That's what I'm going to do. That's what my channel's about. If you don't like that about me, and I just have to fit a certain echo chamber, normal, say the same things, that's not me. That's not going to be me. I'm a conservative, diehard conservative, small government, freedom, liberty. That's what I'm about. Common sense, not these crazy cultural insanities that control us now. That's not who I am. It's not what I do. It's not what I'm about. So take it for what it is. I appreciate every single one of you guys that have been hanging out and have been on my channel and have been listening and have subscribed. It means the world to me. And I really look forward to and hope that this continues to grow. That's what I want. We're going to do what we're going to do. So please subscribe to sjgperspective.com. Go check out my website. And, you can shoot me a message over there. You can email me and become a member over there. I got a forum over there. Start a forum chat. Let's get that rocking and rolling. And every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 p.m., I'm going to be streaming, talking about different things. Typically going to have guests on, and it's going to be a good time. So all in all, keep your head up, man. It's all part of the plan. It's good. What's going to happen is going to happen. And keep your head in the game to know what you need to do when you need to do it. Maybe that's we rise up and we protest something. Maybe that's we pull back because some shit's about ready to really hit, and we just take care of our family and we batten down the hatches a little bit. I don't know exactly which way we go. Be aware, get your mind open to what's going on around you, because all this media and stuff, you gotta know what you're looking at when you're looking at it, and not take it with a grain of salt, and a yin and a yang. Balance that out when you read this stuff. All right, that's about it. So I appreciate you guys hanging out tonight. Corey, again, one big shout out to you and Phoenix Enigma for hosting my channel. It means the world to me. I will see you guys tomorrow night, and we're gonna watch a show called The Jones Plantation, a 12-minute short video tomorrow to start out, and we're gonna talk about the plantation mindset that we have here in America, and that's not a racial thing. The plantation mindset that we are under, and I think it's something that we need to start to open our eyes to and realize it's pretty important. So we're going to cover that tomorrow. And until next time, without fear or animus, it's SJG Perspective, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. See you. Bye. Oh, don't go anywhere. I'm going to go over to D Live. I lied. Doom, doom, doom. Going to D Live. Gonna drop some lemons on everybody. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't leave me yet. Don't leave me yet. Gonna drop some lemons on everybody. Everybody stay right there. If you're not a D Live, you should be a D Live, because D Live is where all the party and the magic happens. And I am going to put in, I appreciate I want to put that in there, and then I want to do this. I'm going to make it rain. We're making it rain in 29 seconds. 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20. I'm going to count you down when it gets to 10. Okay, hang on here. Stay with us. Pirate, Dracius, 49 people. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're distributing rewards. What do we got here? What do we got? Abaddon, 193 to you. Lisi Peasy, 111. Stacy, 80. Pirate Dracus, 64. And Bucky Ball, 54. Thank you guys for hanging out tonight. There are your rewards for rewarding me with your company. And on that note, I will talk to you guys later. Have a great night. And now,